And good afternoon, Bruce Pearson with you on Jersey Talk Radio. We're live in Morristown, New Jersey this afternoon at the Jersey Access Group Conference. I'm with Mr. Dwight T. Williams, who is the... Are you the executive manager?
Yes, I'm the director of the channel.
HTV,
yes.
And for the city of Houston. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background first for the viewers and how you got to be where you are in this operation.
Yeah, well, great. I am a 28-year veteran in television broadcast. I started in Hispanic television, as a matter of fact,
really?
With Telemundo. Worked
Telemundo.
there for 12 years.
Really?
And,
in Houston?
In Houston.
Oh, huge in Houston.
Oh, yeah, great.
Telemundo and Univision, man.
Absolutely. They're battling it out over there, yeah. So I became an engineer at Telemundo, then was requested by the city of Houston to come to work for them. I went there as a chief engineer and been building the station for quite some time. After building the station for a while, they asked me to be the director, so here I am.
Wow, good for you. I'm jealous. Now, when you say the station, is it strictly on cable, or how's your distribution handled? Do you have a UHF channel or anything?
No, we're not a UHF channel, but we are on the cable channels. We have multiple cable channels, AT&T and Comcast.
Nice.
And we also are streaming live 24/7 with on demand, and we've been doing that since 2005.
Bro, you were way ahead of the game.
Yeah, actually, I came to the channel and I sold myself as someone that would bring streaming to the municipal channel, which we then rebranded to be HTV.
That's really neat. Now you said you're on several. You simulcast the same on different carriers, right?
Yes.
So it's AT&T or Comcast.
Right.
Do you do a Spanish block programming, or do you do a Spanish feed as well as an English feed, or is it mix and match and whatever?
Well, we do Spanish television programming.
Right, right.
So we have a show called Latina Voices that is soft syndicated around the country, and also has been on the local KHOU Channel 11 CBS channel.
Wow.
That's a sponsored program that we air on HTV with sponsorships.
That's an interesting point. I was gonna ask you, because this is obviously a bone of contention for community television. Could you just give us a thumbnail of how you fund your operation? Because it's a pretty elaborate setup you have.
Yeah. So we're funded totally by the PEG fees, where we get a certain portion of PEG fees. We're also funded by sponsorships and underwriting. So you
have a mix of
both.
And is that under the PBS model? So it's underwriting grants and fits those criteria?
Absolutely. So we have departments within the city, departments that get grants to do certain types of promotions, and we will fulfill those grants for media services, and they pay that to our line item, and then we are then being funded by some of the grant money that's being utilized by our department to do a very important area.
Parks and Recreation would do a show.
Our health department that is doing a show.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up right now on the screen for our viewers your home website, HTV, and they can go look at that. It's htv.gov, if I remember.
HTV.net. HTVHouston.net is our website.
Okay, great. What's right about Houston?
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Looks like now before we started, you told me you have about 22 people on the staff?
Yeah.
That's a big operation. That's as big as some small market television station.
Yeah, well, what we've done is we've actually redefined ourselves to be a production house. So
So you go outside and do outside production?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Not just
you guys are aggressive.
Yeah,
like
well,
nice style.
You know, we're doing work for interlocals and for Harris County, which would be another government. We do productions for producers that are just starting out, that need an opportunity to produce without having a lot of strings attached or fine print and legalese that hold them to a line that they cannot cross.
Are you an HD house?
Yes, we are. We're full HD house, 1080, and we have 2 studios. One studio we use specifically just for chroma keying. The mayor uses that quite a bit. He'll come down in his private elevator. We actually knocked a hole in the wall so his elevator would stop on our floor, and he walks around from his elevator, comes in, stands on his spot, looks into the prompter, does
You're killing me.
Yeah, he does his greetings, his welcomes, and PSAs, promos, or any type of comments that he's making.
How many hours of programming do you guys produce a week? Would you guess, or a month?
Okay, so per month we are averaging somewhere around 100 hours of programming.
So 25 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hefty schedule. Now, is it
a lot of that is, you know, we do our city council meetings, which run long.
And are they RoboCams in your council hall?
Yes, we have two council meeting rooms. One is our main council meeting room, which has 7 cameras, and then we have a second council meeting room.
7 cameras?
7 cameras, and then we have a second council member room, which is the backup to the first room, and a little smaller step-down room, so it has 4 cameras. So all of the same things that we can do in the larger room, we can do in the smaller room, just with 4 cameras instead.
Now, are you able to handle most of your productions with your staff people, or do you augment with freelance?
Well, we handle most of our productions with our staff people. You got that right. But when we started as a production house, we realized we would have things that would come to us that we would not be able to handle, either because we were already fully committed, or because it was a large project.
They wanted a gym, for example.
Some specialized area of expertise.
Thank you, sir.
And so we put together a production contract, and we put it to council. We said, hey, this production contract is only going to be used if it's funded.
Necessary, and it's paid for itself.
Yes, already paid for as a project. You know, when someone comes to us and says they want to do it, we bid it out through the contract, and they say, okay, well, great, you know, I'd like to do it. The contract does it, and it's set for 5 years, so the rates stay the same for a long period of time.
Nice. Now, how long have you been at this with the city of Houston? Yourself?
16 years in June.
Whoa.
Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
16 fun years. The first year I got there in 2000, I was like, I had all of these great aspirations, and I was like, okay, we're going to do all of these things.
And then reality hit in.
Well, then Allison hit, and that thing completely flooded out our studios and demolished our facility.
It may have been a blessing in disguise in the long run.
I think it was.
You didn't have to keep working with outdated physical plan and equipment.
You got that right.
You'd still be on analog if you like.
We'd be on analog, and we'd still be scrambling to try and pay for the cost of being in that space, because it was really expensive where we were. Really? But you know, we went and was able to share a space with the local community college for 11 years. We were 2 television stations in the same space for 11 years.
And they have their own, the community college also has their own.
Had their own channel as well. So they were operating, we put a deal together that we operated the master control for them and gave them a lot of the infrastructure that they would have had to pay for themselves. And it was a great relationship.
What kind of viewership do you have, just in general, the kind of...
Well, you know, Houston is the 4th largest city in the country.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
It used to be Philadelphia.
Soon to be the 3rd.
It used to be Philadelphia. What happened?
Oh, well, everybody else is standing still. We kept running.
Everybody's moving south out of Philly, I guess. Can't blame them. They're moving out of Jersey, I can tell you that.
I mean, you know, so, you know, we kept running the race.
Holy smoke, I didn't know that.
So we ended up, you know, getting between the average of 300,000 and 400,000 viewers to our programming. And we quickly found out that moving to the web was a new era and a new wave of viewers
I was just
that
going
we
to ask
had
you.
not anticipated.
What are you seeing on the content consumption by the web? Are those numbers consistent in their growth, or do they dip and rise, or are they increasing in the rapid change to switch over to the web, or what are you finding in your? Because you've got big enough numbers to really draw some conclusions.
Yeah, so it depends on whether, for us it's been consistent, and I think it depends on whether you are really just putting the work in on developing your market in the web.
You got to let them know you're there, right?
You got to let them know, and you have to do certain things that are not the norm for cable television. You know, you have to really
you have to break that paradigm.
Yourself. Yeah, and sell yourself. You know, and you really work hard at it, and it's been paying off for us.
What is could you give me an idea of what the mix is of the type of content that you guys locally produce down there?
Okay, so as I mentioned, we have the Latino Voices show. It's 3 Latino women speaking English and talking about issues that are from their perspective, and they're all over the place, all over the globe.
They're probably universal in more cases than not. So.
Yeah. So, and then we have a show called Focus on Abilities, where a gentleman called by the name of Lex Frieden, who was a founder of the ADA compliance for people with disabilities, and worked for 25 years to make that happen. And he's been on our show. We actually got in at the very beginning almost with him, and he's been on our show for 24 years.
And for those that don't recognize it, that's the Americans with Disabilities Act, which has been implemented for a number of years and has made great changes for, handicapped access.
And some of that happened right away. What happened in Houston, where they challenged the Metro Bus Group for accessibility to the bus. And that was kind of a beginning stage for the Disabilities Act.
Now, Houston's a big sports town. Do you do any sports broadcasting?
Well, yes, we do some sports broadcasting, but we do a lot of promoting of our sports more than we do broadcasting. We are airing right now for the city of Sugarland, their B League team, B baseball league team, and it's really catching on. That's an unusual. We're actually charging ACC TV, our old friends that we've partnered with for a long time, for 11 years, and we're doing that programming for them.
Yeah, B League baseball is a pretty big activity up here in Jersey too.
Yeah, because it's so family oriented.
Exactly. It's you can't afford to go to a major league, take a family to a major league game too many times a year, if at all. But it's much more accessible parks. They're nice, they're new, they're clean. So it's a much more family oriented activity. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So the other thing that we're doing is we're about to have the Super Bowl in Houston. So we've already connected with the Super Bowl committee to be a media content provider for the Super Bowl coming up in Houston.
Wow.
So
well, last time I was there for anything like that, the Astrodome was still in place. So it's been a long time ago.
Yeah, that's
how
very
old
long time. Yeah, the Astrodome is no longer operational. We have the Reliant Stadium now.
Right? Yeah.
And actually, they're trying to figure out what to do with that.
Yeah, it's just a big white elephant.
Yeah.
Well, that's an amazing story. So you've obviously had a lot of support from your town council and the community. Have you had a lot of problems, or what are the sticking points been for you?
That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked me that, because it was about being proactive. We didn't just sit back and wait for council to tell us what they
didn't back up the truckload of money and just dump it in your office there.
No.
Well, yeah, and you know what? If you believe in it, you show some initiative and go the extra distance, perhaps good people will see that and say, yeah, run with it. We'll throw you some, we'll throw you some more crumbs if you show you're good about cleaning up after yourself.
Right. So, when we wanted to do our sponsorship model, we went to the legal department. And we said, hey, legal, look, we're trying to do this sponsorship.
Right, what do you think? Yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, and what do you think? And if you think it's good, how do we do this in a way that it's the right way for Houston?
Right.
And they bought in. They gave us really great guidelines and policies and procedures, and we've been following those. It's really worked well for us, and we've gotten good opinions from them over time. There's one opinion that we've gotten from them. Not everybody agrees with it, but theirs is that a production is actually an asset, and that if you hand someone a production as a physical disc or some type of media, and they purchase that at a price above asset value,
right,
then that is actually an asset. So then what do you got?
You've got hard capitalization of an asset.
There you go.
Wow, nice style.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So we're really pushing that type of thing. We're trying to find a way to link all of the municipalities around the country, if possible, to a sponsorship model that is affiliated, which is the same thing that broadcast television did.
That's what the networks do.
Right.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, I'm very impressed, Dwight.
Thank you.
If it wasn't for the heat down there, I'd be moving down to Houston and getting a job with you guys. But
come on down.
I can't take that
Everybody's
humidity in the summer, man. It's just way too bloody hot down there.
Well, it's bad, but the air conditioners really work well for that.
Well, listen, we're going to have to call it a day. Thank you for joining us from Houston. Thanks for being part of the conference. I know that you're speaking and you're taking part on the panels. I wish you the very best, and I'm very impressed with your work. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you,
sir. Safe travels on your way home, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much.
This is Bruce Pearson with the Jersey Talk Radio coverage of the Jersey Access Group Conference in Morristown, New Jersey, and we're just meeting with Dwight Williams, who is the executive director of HTV in Houston, Texas, and very, very good business model for maybe some of the folks here on a smaller scale to implement some of your policies and scenarios and the way you've gone about the growth. So thanks again, and we appreciate you being with us, and we'll see you again. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes, folks, for another interview. Stay tuned.